G'day, my name's Tim Bowman, and I'm here to speak to you about some things that I've learned through photography and some different experiences that I've had and things like that. So I'll sort of jump right into it. First of all, I'm really grateful to be here today. I'm a huge TED fan, and it's had a huge influence on me. So hopefully you guys get something from today as well. I'm also a primary school teacher by day, and in case you couldn't pick me out, I'm this one here. Basically, I got into photography because I wanted to sort of express myself and things like that, and I couldn't draw. So this is my sort of self-portrait when I was drawing, and then this is sort of my self-portrait when I'm a photographer. So it was a way of expressing how I felt about things, and this is a very sensitive thing. This was sort of the first lesson that I learned in photography. Ketchup burns. Do not put it on your face. So after this, I ended up with an ice pack and moisturizer on my face for like the next 3 hours. It wasn't pretty. So back to me. So when I wasn't very good at drawing, I sort of had these feelings that I wanted to get a camera, but I was terrible at saving, so it took a long time till eventually I could afford to buy my first camera. It was a Nikon F65, and I was so excited. And so I had my camera, I ran out, I took pictures, and I got them developed, ran home and showed my mum, because my mum was an art teacher. I said, "Mum, look at these pictures, it's fantastic, I've got a camera, it's great." And my mum looked at the pictures, and she said, "What am I looking at?" And at the time I was a bit taken aback. Come on, Mum, but she was right, and that was when I learnt my first lesson about photography. What do you want? As a photographer, you have to figure out before you press the shutter, what do you want? What are you trying to say in your image? So Ansel Adams, who's like the Beyonce of photography, he said, "There's nothing worse than a sharp picture of a fuzzy idea." And that pretty much nails it, spot on. You've got to know exactly what you want before you do it. And it applies to everything in life, I guess, whether it's running, photography, you name it, everything. So we've gone a long way back here. And I'm going to have to describe the rest of the pictures to you, I think. So basically, my PowerPoint is gone. So I guess basically the first lesson that I learned was you've got to figure out what you want. And then, of course, leading on from that, after you figure out how you're going to tell your story or what story you want to tell. So for me, it would be location, personality. I've got really nice pictures for all of these. But then after you've figured out what do you want to say, then you've of course got to figure out how you're going to do it. And that's, I guess, sort of the technical side. And once again, that applies to everything. So I do adventure racing and different sort of things like that. And you figure out what you want and then how you're going to get it. These little incremental steps that are going to get you there. And this is not going to get me there. But anyway, so after you've decided what do you want, how you're going to get there, basically, I guess it takes a lot of time, work, but at the end of the day, I think it's effort. I was going to say time and work, but time, everything takes time. As far as work goes, if you love it and you're passionate about it, then it's not really work, because I'll go out and photograph something, stay up all night, get an hour's sleep, and then go to my day job, and I don't consider it work. It's an absolute pleasure to stay up and do that at night. So if you find your passion, that's what it's all about. I'm trying to remember what comes next after effort. So, that's right. So the next thing for me was, after I'd done that, I've put in the time and the effort to sort of learn my craft. And then I went out and I tried to photograph things. So I did a lot of boxing photography. And my photography to start with was really quite bad, I must say. The photography, the pictures, it's really blurry. Can you tell? So the picture was really blurry and I didn't know what to do. So I knew my craft pretty well. So I contacted the photographer for the Contender Asia. So this guy's a professional photographer. This is how he earns his money. And I've just some guy saying, "I really like your work. How do you do it?" And I didn't expect anything back, honestly. Anyway, He emailed back with a huge email, the camera he uses, the shutter speed, the ISO, the aperture, the angles, everything. He told me exactly how to create what he'd done. And I think that's a huge thing as far as the internet goes. I'm sure none of you are going, wow, you can find things on the internet. But you can really track people down and annoy them, and they'll help you out. So that's a fantastic thing. Another example of this was the recent project I've been working on in Cambodia. I wanted a photograph, and it was of a child spinning around. And it's a really famous photograph, and I tried to get it myself. It was from Milk, and I remember it from years back. I tried to get it myself, and I know photography pretty okay, but I couldn't get it. So it was like me drawing again. I was really frustrated. I was thinking, how am I going to do this? This is a shot that I really need for my project. So I spoke to my friend Google, and it turns out that the Google had a cousin who was really into photography called Flickr. And Flickr, she had heaps of friends. And so she was great. All of her friends and everything like that, I just sort of chatted to them, and they told me exactly how to do it. It turns out there's whole groups of people that do this for a sort of a hobby. So we're good to go. We're not good to go. So basically, they told me how to do it, and I got the shot that I wanted, and it would have been here. So that's sort of how it works for me. Hassle the people that you're interested in. If I'm reading a book that I like, I email the author. 9 times out of 10, they'll email you back. So if you're into something, track people down, and they will help you out as far as that goes. So the next thing for me is I decided, okay, I'm taking photos here, I'm loving what I'm doing. And then I thought, okay, it's time to sort of use my photography, I guess. So I went to Thailand, took photos of boxing. Took photos of boxing. I think it's all right now. Okay. Personality, way, pictures. Woo! So how are you going to get there? You got your idea. You can't do it. You're frustrated, like me drawing. All these great things. YouTube, fantastic. I'm sure you all know that. But on YouTube, I learned a heap about photography. I learned bass guitar. I learned how to make a web page from a 7-year-old. I learned Flash, and that's just only been the last 6 months. So now I can take photos that I never could before. So as you're going along, you pick things up, and it expands your creativity. This shot I never could have got before. This is the orphanage that I was just at. What I did is I set my camera up, got one of the kids to press the shutter button, and I ran around and flashed each of these buildings so they'd pop out in the night. But I couldn't have got that before I had the technical skill, I guess. And you can capture movement and things like that. It takes time, effort. You need to get past the frustration. So if you love it, you put in the effort. People ask me, how do I get this photograph? It's by taking these photographs. Community rocks, once again. This was the shot that I wanted. I've got the idea with my new camera. Frustrated, can't get it. Google, Flickr, group, my shot. So it's fantastic how much that helps out. Boxing, first photographs, email, contender, fantastic, really helpful. This is his email. And then my shots end up improving. So if anyone ever has any questions about photography, I will always answer them. So if anyone's getting into photography, please email me, let me know, and I'll do whatever I can to help. The other great thing about photography, it allows you to see the world in HD. And I think that's the same for anything. If you're studying economics or whatever, you see economics in places that you never would have if you weren't before. So for me, I used to say I take my camera places, but now it takes me places. I get to travel around the world taking photographs. It gives me courage to get into situations that I wouldn't without my camera. About 2 months ago, I had this bear. He was like right there. I never would do that without this camera. It's not like it's going to protect me, but it gives you the confidence. You get to see light. I never would have seen as many sunrises, because I like to sleep in, without my camera. That's when the light is, that's when you got to get up. You get to see movement that you usually take for granted. Lines and colour. Colour that you see every day suddenly becomes something that really pops out to you. And you get to meet amazing people like Jane Goodall, but not just Jane Goodall and famous people like that. everyday people doing extraordinary things. And most significant for me lately is you get to tell stories. So this is where I've decided to use my passion. And recently I visited an orphanage in Cambodia and photographed some kids. I'd started out just to do some publicity for them and things like that. And I got to know the kids and their daily lives. I got to go to school with them, see how things are changing for them, and that their futures are far much brighter because the people at the orphanage. I got to meet the kids and really get to know them. So I call this girl Wrinkles. The kids there are economic orphans. Wrinkles, she's called that because when she smiles, her nose wrinkles up. Wrinkles, her sister and brother at the orphanage, not because she doesn't have parents, but because her parents can't afford to feed her. So I thought, how can I help these kids? A couple of the monks from the local monastery come in and they go to the Who Will school as well for English. But the kids there were just fantastic. So I had these kids that I really cared for now, and I thought, I've got to do more. I wanted to stay there and sort of teach English, but I thought I can do more if I go away and help fundraise or something like that. So then I decided I was going to try and do a project. I was going to make a book. So basically, people will support you. That's what I've learned from this project. I've emailed a whole heap of people saying, hey, anyone interested in helping out? I got a designer reply and say, yep, we'll happily take your photos and turn it into a book. People just helping just because they want to help. So now I had a book in PDF and I was so excited. I was so happy. But I realized that we didn't have any money. People aren't going to pay money for a PDF. So then I wasn't so happy and I was thinking, how am I going to do this? So I sent out more emails to every corporate I could think of that was involved in Cambodia, thinking, this is a chance. Everyone said, the amount you're asking is not huge. It'll be easy. You'll get corporate sponsorship like that. So I sent out the email. Nothing. People replied they wanted to help, but they were already doing other things, or there was a whole list of different reasons. I hadn't done anything like this before, so coming from me, it was a bit strange. So I sent out another email, but this time I made a YouTube video of the photos and things like that. And so I sent this one out, and then as I got back to the airport from my last photo shoot in Cambodia, I got an email from a person saying that she'd support me and she would pay all of the printing costs, a private individual in Hong Kong. So now I was really happy. And it meant that the kids there, hopefully when we sell all these books enough to cover their running costs for 12 months, they'll be able to expand, they'll be able to become more self-sufficient, and their futures will be brighter. So I guess my message for you is find your passion. It may take a while. Work on learning your craft, and then use your passion, no matter what it is, to help people, and you'll get far more out of it, and people will support you. Follow your dreams, and people will support you. Thank you very much.